Well, howdy there, Internet students. Mr. Hermanson again. Today we're going to do some more with expressions. In this case, we're going to learn how to create expressions for multiplication problems. These are all the ways of writing 6 multiplied by the variable t. Check it out. This is the one I like the best right there, the simplest. You know that you can use exponents or powers to make a number multiply by itself. So like 5 to the second means 5 times 5, right? And we read that as 5 squared, or 5 to the second power. 5 to the third means 5 times 5 times 5, which we use the word cubed for that. So you could say 5 cubed, or 5 to the third power. 5 to the fourth is 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. So 5, and we read that as 5 to the fourth. There's no special word for fourth powers. Variables can also be written with exponents. So 2 times s times s times s is the same as 2s to the third. Okay. Now, one thing you want to remember when you're doing powers, even if there's variables, is the order of operation, in that if you were to evaluate this expression, you would take whatever value s has to the third first, and then multiply that by 2. Okay? At this point, I'd like to invite you to watch this about exponents. It only takes a little less than 3 minutes. It's a cartoon about powers. Go ahead and do that. And when you're done, come back and we'll finish this. You should find it in the classwork where you found this video. All right, so you guys, here's how we're going to rewrite expressions using exponents. If you see p multiplied by itself 3 times, then you're going to write 3p to the third. If you see x multiplied by itself 2 times, for that you're going to write x to the second. And then for y, you're going to write x to the third. Go ahead and try the next one, see if you're catching on. All right, here's what I got for that. Most calculators apply the order of operations for you, so you do not need to check if yours does. Well, you do need to check. I know mine does, but you want to just be sure. So just try this out, see if it works, and you end up with 47, because you would do 8 times 5 first, right, and then add 7. So check your calculator, see if it's giving you 47. I know my fancy 8th grade calculator will do that. What I like about this too is it shows the whole expression in there. Now, with this calculator also you can use parentheses for multiplication. I could have just put 7 plus 8 times 5 also for that. But all right, so parentheses can be used to change the order that you perform operations. So if we are expecting to get 27, where would you put the parentheses in this expression? Right, you would want to add 4 plus 5 first to make 9 and then multiply that by 3. Okay? Calculators have a key which allows you to raise to a power. There are several different ways the power key can appear on your calculator. Look for it. It's actually called the caret key. Okay? On my calculator, it'll look like this. This is really cool. Like if I want to do 5 to the 7th power, it actually shows up, but did you see this button I use? I'll do that again. The button I just pushed is red. So there's the caret, and then there's the 7. Now, if I use the computer's calculator and do 5, I press this X, Y button. You see it highlighted right now. And then to the 7th, and it does the same thing. All right. When you study math, it is important to know shortcuts can be used to writing expressions. Like I said, we're not going to put any symbol in when we show multiplication. You could write for t to the second. If you like doing things the hard way, you could write t times t. Or like if it was t to the 12th, you would have to do this 12 times, which would be kind of a pain. So I think I'd rather just write it as t to the 12th rather than have to write it out the long way. All right, here are some examples of expressions. Take a look at these. We're using powers to show repeated multiplication. If you have an expression with repeated multiplication, all right, when you evaluate, make sure you remember the order of our operation. Now, repeated addition is multiplication. Like, think about this, you guys. I'll just do one little example with a real number here. Adding 5 3 times, that equals 15, right? You would write that as 3 times 5. So if we're adding r twice, we're going to write that as 2 times r. If we're multiplying r by itself, we use power. You try the rest of them. How'd you do? Novice algebraists have trouble with this one here, but remember you're adding, and you have to think about what this 5s is. That is s added 5 times, so you're just adding s one more time, which makes 6 times s. Okay, so kind of talk to yourself while you're doing these until you get it. Okay, so go ahead and do 11, 12, 10 through 12. See if you can do them on your own. All right, number 10, you could put parentheses in here because you want to multiply first, but because of the order of operations, you would be multiplying first anyway, so you don't need them. They're not needed. The next one, though, they are needed. You want to make sure you add those first and not multiply first. Okay, take a number, multiply it by 6, and cube the result. In order to show that, you're going to need parentheses. Because without the parentheses, you would do x to the third first. You wouldn't do times 6 first. All right? Okay, now on these, we're going to evaluate the expression for r. So what we're going to do is take r, instead of r, we're going to put 3 where the r is. So remember that if there is no sign that it's multiplication, I decided to put a dot in there for that. And now when I evaluate it, I have to do the power first, so I'm going to do 3 squared first, which is 9, times 5 is 45. Okay? Now on your calculator, you could do that also on your calculator. You would just do 5 times 3 to the second, and I use the power button there. And you can do that to check your answers if you like. Now here you got to make sure you do 5 times 3 first in parentheses, and if you want to write it out, it might be helpful. And then take that to the second power. So 5 times 3 is 15, and then you have to do 15 times 15, which ends up being 225. Go ahead and try the last two, see if you get them right. All right, so I got 162 and 1,296. Okay, when Kate, Jen Lee, Darnell, Zach, and Maya tried to find the value of 3t squared for t equals 7, they came up with 5 different answers. Only one of their answers is correct. Who is correct? Why don't you try it on your own and see what you get first? All right, I think Darnell's got it because he sure got what I got. I don't know. Can you see what mistake Kate made? Kind of looks like she forgot that this 3 in front of the t means multiply by 3, and she just put the 3 in front. Okay, Jin Lee, I think she thought 7 to the second meant 7 plus 7, which is 14, because I know 3 times 14 is 42. Darnell did it right. Zach, again, forgot that 3 times t to the second means that there's a times in there, and he just put the 3 and the 7 together and then squared it. And then Maya, looks like she did the 3 times 7 first, which you got to do the powers first, right? All right, so that's all I got for you today. Go ahead and summarize this lesson and try some of those homework problems. And if you're having issues, message me. Other than that, we'll talk to you soon.